Hello and welcome to episode 8 of For Pete's Sake, the ongoing series in which I attempt to explore the kind of man that he was based on his record collection by going through them 1 week at a time. So this is, as I say, episode 8, which means we've got about 42 more records to go and 2 more episodes after this one in this current series, because I'm going to do 10 and then have a break. And just to kind of talk about that a bit, I wanted to have a break, one, because when I started this it was the 6-week holidays, so I had time to kind of bulk record a bunch of episodes, but now that I'm back at work I don't have as much time. So I think I'm going to stop after 10 and then build up a few more and then start it up again, probably around Halloween time. And then the other reason though is that, like, while I've been recording these episodes, I spend a lot of time thinking about what I'm going to say in them and kind of raking up all these memories. And while it has been really lovely to do that, really nice, it's also kind of exhausting just going around with that constantly in your head all the time, like thinking about what memories kind of link to this. It can become a little bit depressing, you know what I mean? As much as I love remembering the good times, just thinking about it all the time, I think, is also not healthy, even if you are thinking about, good times as well. So yeah, that is why I will be having a break after episode 10. But this week, I'm going to be talking about Bruce Springsteen's debut album, Greetings from Asbury Park, New Jersey. So I wanted to begin by just talking about how when you're a kid, you don't have a sense of the wider world. So you think that what you experience is the same as what everyone else is experiencing. So for example, I thought until I was about 18 that everyone was just a Catholic. I went to 2 Catholic schools and I was raised Catholic, kind of. We didn't go to church after I was about 10 or 11. But I'd never even heard of the Church of England until I was well into my teenage years. And then I was shocked to find out that not everyone is a Catholic, and that's where Catholics are actually in a minority in this country. So that came as a shock to me. Something similar to that is me and my dad. So I guess when my dad was buying records, he's not a completist like me, but also they didn't have the internet then, so it must have been difficult sometimes to keep up with releases and knowing about which artists have released which albums. So my dad always thought that Bruce Springsteen first 2 albums were Asbury Park, the one we're looking at today, and Born to Run. But there's one in the middle of those 2 called The Wild, the Innocent and the E Street Shuffle, which my dad just had no idea about. And when I told him about it, because that was the reality that he'd kind of grown up in, he was like, nah, there's no album between those 2 albums. I'm like, there is, Dad. I was like showing him it, the physical. I'm holding the album in my hand, and he's still like, nah, I'm not having it. But I was a bit like that as well when I found out, and it just made me reflect on the fact that sometimes you're told stuff when you're a kid, and then that's just what you believe until you kind of find out that that's not the case, and how interesting that is, and how that leads to people having perhaps, I don't need to talk about that. Right, anyway. And then the other thing I wanted to reflect on, in fact I'll do this after, I'll do that at the end. So let's talk about this album. Now, this album, this is the front cover of the copy of this album that my dad had. But this is not the front cover of the album as I know it. The front cover as I know it says Greetings from Asbury Park, New Jersey, in big font, like a greeting sign with like an orange background. So I don't know what's happened here, because this is definitely the front, because the inner sleeve is here. So it's not like there's something that goes over this that I'm aware of, but maybe there is. I know that there's a couple of Springsteen geeks who listen to this, so perhaps they could enlighten me about that. I'm talking about you, Simon. Anyway, so this one there's a nice picture of Bruce there, smiling in the middle. What a guy. And then the whole rest of the sleeve on the front and the back is just taken up by lyrics. So obviously he is an artist who lyrics mean a lot to him, and that's one of the reasons why I love him so much, actually. And this is a very kind of verbose album. It's very Dylan-esque lyrically. It's very dense, Lots of it is very personal, but then lots of it's just kind of throwaway and nonsense, but always entertaining. And you've also got here the price tag. You can see that there, £3.79. No brand though. I don't know where that was from, so don't know. So this one, I didn't have to do much research for this one because I love it so much. It was released in January the 5th, 1973, when my dad was 16. Probably the perfect age to discover this album. And I listened to it. I only listened to it once in preparation for this because I listened to it many times. This is a good starting point for any Springsteen fan, and sorry, anyone who's just kind of getting into Springsteen. This is a really good starting point because it's really short. It's like 37 minutes. Every song is great. It shows you see both sides of him, the more kind of Dylan-esque rockers, but also the kind of melodramatic ballads like Lost in the Flood or Mary Queen of Arkansas. But this is probably best known for the song Blinded by the Light, which was turned into a massive hit by, I think, Manfred Mann. That version's not very good. This is the definitive version. It's a brilliant song, even though, as I say, the lyrics don't really mean anything, they just sound great. But it's a really good song. You love if that's one of the kind of songs where you think you might not know it, but by the time it gets to the chorus, you will know it. Blinded by the Light, that is. That's followed by Growing Up, which is a really good song as well. He's really good in these early albums at capturing that teenage longing of kind of wanting to get out and do something else, and being on the precipice between being a young person and adulthood. He's really good at that. Particularly, as I say, on this album, the first 3 albums, and then by the 4th album, Darkness on the Edge of Town, he's singing more about more adult concerns. Does this bus stop at 82nd Street? I learnt that on guitar, that song. Don't worry, I'm not going to play it. But I learnt it on guitar especially because I wanted to play it to my dad, because I knew that he loved that song. And you know what? I think my dad always tolerated my guitar playing more than anything else. He was quite encouraging sometimes. But yeah, it was something I came to on my own. He didn't play any instrument at all. I kind of went down that road myself. And I think he was the kind of person who always shuddered a little bit when someone at a party picked up a guitar. But I remember playing him that one when we went on a family holiday with all my mum's side of the family, who are very musical on my mum's side. There's a few guitar players on that side of the family. And we're all sat around in this kind of like lodge thing in the countryside. And we're just taking it in turns to play songs. And I remember playing that song, Does This Bus Stop at 82nd Street, to him. And I think he enjoyed it more than usual. Maybe that's me projecting, but I actually said to him, because he started talking at one point, and I said, Dad, I've learnt this one for you. Joking like, but also not joking. And then he did be quiet, and then he did listen, and he was kind of, nodding his head and stuff, and he wasn't the kind of person he wasn't whipping out "I'm proud of yous" very often, or things like that, and he didn't then. So you had to take the moments you could get when you could sense that pride. So that was one of those moments where I was playing in that song on guitar. Yeah. So I played this one in my kitchen the other day. That's when I was listening to it, and my daughter was loving it. Blinded by the Light. She was bopping all over the place in a little baby prison that we keep in the kitchen there. So that was nice. But you can't, in terms of recommending songs, you can't miss with this one, in my opinion. I think some Springsteen fans don't hold it to the same esteem as I do. It's one of my favourite Springsteen albums, possibly my second or third favourite. But I just think it's fantastic from top to bottom, start to finish. It's a 5-star, 10 out of 10 album for me. One of the best debut albums of all time, and we'll talk more about that shortly. So yeah, highly recommended. Bruce Springsteen's first album, Welcome to Asbury Park, New Jersey. So I've twinned this album, just briefly, with the new Sam Fender album, People Watching. It's very rare that I buy a record new these days because they're so expensive. This one, I only have this one because when he announced a tour this time last year, I bought this so I could get access to the pre-sale for tickets. Only after it had arrived did I find out that wasn't necessary. So I've kind of spent best part of 30 quid on this. It's still in its wrapper. I can't even imagine a time when I'll play it. You might as well keep them in the wrappers and you know, let the value go up in it, which is a sad way to look at music, as just a commodity. But you know, I've got some sentimental attachment to these older records. I don't really have it to this, but I've trimmed it with this because Fender very much is a student of Springsteen. They call him the North Shield Springsteen, and if you like Bruce Springsteen's music, you'll probably like Sam Fender's music. So there we go. So I also wanted to take this opportunity to, I know that everyone loved my top 5 list of the places where I would buy records from. What an absolutely riveting moment that was. I've done another list, if you'll indulge me. This time it's of my 10 favourite debut albums in honour of this Springsteen album. So I must stress the word favourite there. I'm not saying these are the 10 best debut albums of all time, because then you'd be including things like Pearl Jam's first album or the Beatles' first album, which I don't have on here. So this is purely, right now, you can ask me next week and my answers will have changed. This is right now my 10 favourite debut albums of all time. Number 10, The Big Moon, Love in the Fourth Dimension. Number 9, The Wombats, A Guide to Love, Loss and Desperation. Number 8, Spectre, Enjoy It While It Lasts. Number 7, Maximo Park, A Certain Trigger. Number 6, Arctic Monkeys, Whatever People Say I Am, That's What I'm Not. Number 5, Tom Waits, Closing Time. Number 4, Bruce Springsteen, Asbury Park. Number 3, The Strokes, Is This It? Number 2, Oasis, Definitely Maybe. And number 1, Weezer, The Blue Album. So I'm not going to expand on that because we'll be here all day. But if you want to know more about why I've picked those albums, then sound off in the comments. That's the thing people say, I guess. Here's some that I also could have included that might be included on a different day. I'll just quickly run through these. Arcade Fire, Funeral, The Libertines, Up the Bracket, Interpol, Turn on the Bright Lights, The Weakerthans, Fallow, Supergrass, I Should Coco, Frank Turner, Sleep Is for the Weak, The Beatles, Please Please Me, The Decemberists, Castaways and Cutouts, Stereophonics, Word Gets Around, Milburn, Well Well Well, Sam Fender, Hypersonic Missiles, Idols, Brutalism, Fontaine's DC, Doggerel, and Willie Mason, Where the Humans Eat. So yeah, if your thing is a quite old, pudgy, grey-haired man just listing album names, then this is very much the video for you. Okay. So as I've hinted at before, I'm going to do a proper bumper Bruce Springsteen episode at some point, but that I'm going to wait for Born to Run to come out. But yeah, that is Asbury Park, New Jersey, an album that my dad loved, that I love, that I urge everyone to listen to. So the time has come to pick the penultimate album for this series of For Pete's Sake, which I will do now. I think if I angle it this way, it seems to be the best. But I'll just move it around a little so everyone can see. So look. The Stranglers 4. Okay, so with the Stranglers, I don't know hardly anything about them other than the kind of 4 or 5 songs that everyone knows. So that will be an interesting one next week. The penultimate episode, as I say, The Stranglers 4. Right, lovely. Thanks everyone for listening, and tune in next time for The Stranglers, and then there's only one more, and then we can all have a break, and that will be a treat for everyone. Right, thank you.